Good morning to all and welcome to Python for Engineers online session. Today we are going to discuss about the third chapter, returning a result from a function. Having discussed about the meaning of function, how to define it, and the concept of parameters and arguments in the previous session, now we are going to use another statement that is called return inside the function. Okay. Now returning a result from a function. Okay. Why it is required? What is its necessity? Uh, what we have discussed, presented previously. So all the previously presented functions have some kind of effect, which means input is provided, they manipulate, and they produce some text and send it to the console. Of course, functions like other mathematical relations, they also manipulate the results and display. To get functions to return a value, we use a instruction, special instruction called return. Return. Okay. So to get functions to return a value, we use a special instruction called return. Please note return is a Python keyword, reserve word, which has a predetermined meaning. So the return is a keyword and that should not be used as a variable. So this function will use inside the function definition to return a value. Okay, so is it clear? So to get functions to return a value, inside the function, we use an instruction called return. Fine. Now, what are the characteristics of the return? The return instruction has two different variants. The first consists of the keyword itself without anything following it. The first consists of the keyword itself, just the instruction return itself. There are no variables or no names, characters, literals, data type following it. So the return instruction has two different variants. The first one, simple, which has only the keyword return. That's it. Only the keyword return without any following information, variables, control, okay, or anything following it. That is the first instruction, first variant. The second variant is extended with an expression. So the instruction will have an extended expression. Okay. Is it clear? For example, return, then we have an expression. This is the second variant. So to get functions to return a value, a special instruction called return is introduced inside the function definition. Is it clear? Inside the function definition. This return instruction has two different variants. Number one, it just consists of keyword itself, simple return statement instruction. The second variant will have expressions followed by the keyword return expression. So one or more expressions can be separated by comma. Is it clear? So we are going to introduce this return keyword inside the function. Okay, so let us now switch to the Python. Okay, right. Python editor, we have moved, right? Let us start with a simple example. Def function, okay, and let us introduce a variable, I mean the parameter, explode, okay, is equal to true. Since it's a function definition, a colon at the end of the statement. So followed by the function body appears with an indented block, print. EH or EE, right? Another statement, 2, print 1. Is it clear? Okay. We introduce return, right? When a function is defined, that should be invoked after the function body. So, function, invoking function, right? Print, boom, right? So, we have introduced an instruction return inside the function definition without anything following it, a simple instruction, right? Is it clear? So, run the program. Okay. The first statement, function is defined, then it invokes its corresponding function. Okay. There are no parameters supplied, arguments supplied to it. So that will assume as default value export is equal to true, right? Because we are not supplying any arguments. If there are no arguments supplied to the parameter in the function definition, by default, it will assume the value. That is why we have introduced the parameter explode is equal to true, a binary value, right? True or false, a binary value. So since it is a true, the function definition is executed. 3, 2, 1. Return. It stops the execution, and now the control jumps out of the function definition. So the next statement after the invoked function is print boom. So as a result, we get the output 3, 2, 1 and boom. Here, when invoked without any arguments, the output when invoked without any arguments, okay, which means return, it stops the execution and the control jumps out of the function. Okay, so here we have introduced the return instruction without any arguments, a simple basic return instruction is introduced. Okay, so function is defined and it is invoked. Since there are no arguments, by default it will take whichever is defined as a parameter definition, right? The function body executes all the statements followed by the definition 3, 2, 1. Return, it stops the execution. Now the control jumps out of the function definition. The next statement is a print, and the print statement we have a string displayed later. So 3, 2, 1 and boom. It's a countdown simple program. So here we invoked the return instruction without any arguments. This is one example. Is it clear? Okay. So let us check one more example. The second variant. What is the second variant? What is the second variant? It is the second variant is we have an instruction followed by the second variant is extended with an expression return. Okay, after return instruction we have an expression, that is the second variant. Okay, the second variant is extended with an expression. Okay, so the format is return the keyword followed by the expression, right? So we'll see one more program. Let me create a new Python file and name the file. Okay, we have opened a file. Now we are going to check the return instruction with an expression. So def definition, right? Sum, the function name, and introduce a parameter, that is L, right? A function is defined. Clear? So sum for I mean, let me introduce a for loop EL in L. Okay, for the keyword in at another keyword in the list. L represents a list. Okay, so here sum is equal to sum plus L. So which is by using the shortcut operator EL, right? Return sum. Okay, it is done, and finally we have to display the output. Print list. Okay, so function definition we have L parameter is introduced. What we want to find is a sum. Sum means we have to supply the values, right? So we can have, since it is a list, the data are entered in a pair of square brackets. Okay, so run the program, this sample program. This is a program 8. List is equal to 5. List, what we had printed is a list of 5. Okay, so when we return the function and display, the list is supposed to be a function, right? Run the program, it is 5. Because we have supplied only one argument to the parameter L. So hence the sum is returned as 5. If we have more value, more arguments, 3, 2, 1. Print list of 5321. 5321. It is just printing the list. So we have applied the sum, addition of all the elements by using the for loop, right? By using the for loop, but it has not been displayed. Okay, so why? What could be the reason? Return sum. So kindly go through the statement. Return instruction followed by an expression. Return sum. Okay, so return followed by an expression. It should not be a function. Function is defined in the beginning. We apply the values, the input are provided, and we have to return the expression, not the function. So that is why it is displayed. Now run the program. After modifying the value, we have again got 5321. Okay. So the sum here, sum is equal to sum plus ELE. Fine. So return sum and the print list of a function. Okay. So here we can modify the statement to get the output. An error. So sum is not defined here. Okay, fine. So all we need to correct the statement. Right. A function is defined yes, sum, and we have an parameter L. Okay. For EL, element for the variable in the list, sum is equal to sum plus L. In this case, what is the error? The local variable sum is referenced before an assignment. We have used a shortcut expression sum is equal to sum plus L. So at the time of execution, the reference to the variable sum has not been accepted because it asks for assignment, which means the variable sum needs to be assigned to initialize to 0. Okay. Now running the program after it is modified, we have got 5321. So sum is equal to 0 for EL. In L, sum is equal to sum plus L, return sum and print sum of 5321. We have got. Since still this return sum, okay, the value of the sum addition of the list has not been displayed. The reason is we have defined a function and a variable. Both the functions and variable contains the same name. So there is a conflict between the variable as well as the function definition. So what can be done? We can modify the definition. For example, sum of list. Okay, sum of list. The name of the function is sum of list, and after it is returned, the invoking function should be have the same name, sum of list. Yes. Okay. Now run the program after it is modified. So 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, what resulted is 11. Right? A variable is used repeatedly, but it is permitted, but there should not be a conflict between the definition and the variable. Earlier, what we did was we have defined a function by using the name SUM, and the same SUM is also used as a variable inside the for loop to increment the values. So as a result, there is a conflict between the function definition and the variable. Okay, it is not an error, but we are not getting the appropriate result because of the conflict between the invoked function and the variable. So we should be very careful when you are using the terms, either it's a variables, identifiers or function names. Okay. So as per since it is a object oriented programming, we can use the literals or the name repeatedly as the main concepts of object oriented programming are encapsulation, polymorphism and inheritance. So two or more identifiers could be used inside the program, but there should not be any conflict, right? So earlier what we had done, definition of the function as well as the incrementer variable, both are same. So we are not getting the appropriate result. Fine. Is it clear? So now after correcting it, we have got the sum of the list 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 11. So the second return variant is extended with an expression return followed by the expression SUM. So for a variable element in the list, what is L? L is a parameter inside the function definition. So when the function definition, when the statement is executed, it invokes the function, the invoking function, which supplies arguments 5, 3, 2, 1 to the list. Right? For each element in the list, for each element 5, 3, 2, 1, sum is equal to sum plus EL. Okay, so earlier we have not assigned the value, so we have got an error. After proper assignment, sum is equal to sum plus EL. So in the first 0 plus EL, EL in L, the first value 0 plus 5, return. The second value 5 plus 3, return to sum, it is assigned. Okay, 8 plus 2, 10, 10 plus 1, 11. So at the end of the arguments are reached, the return statement stops the execution and jumps out of the function print. This statement will print, display the sum of the value in the list. Please remember it is a list, hence the input are entered in a pair of square brackets. Is it clear? So we have introduced the second return variant, which is extended with an expression, return expression. SUM is an expression, okay, or a variable. Is it clear? Any doubts? So in the first example, it is a simple keyword itself without any expression, anything following it. Okay. The second variant, when invoked with arguments, 5, 3, 2, 1, it will cause the calculations as per the statement and return the value of the expression. Okay. Any doubts? Fine. So I see, deliberately I have made duplication of the definition and variable. Okay, and we have also understood what will be the, it be executed, but we will not get the expected output because since it is an object-oriented programming language, okay, the polymorphism concept and inheritance is permitted. Mean the expression or the identifier could be used, duplicated in several locations, but we may not get the expected output. So hence, when we are naming the function or variable or an expression, we should be very careful. Okay, so the same function definition and the variable are used, but it is executed because programming language permits the multiple use of the same variable, but we may not get the appropriate result. So hence, defining a function definition is different. The variables are different. The expressions are different. Should be very careful in writing the application. Right. So in this session, we have discussed two variants of return the function. Right. Return instruction has two different variants. The first consists of the keyword itself without anything following it. The second return variant is extended with an expression. It's called expression. Fine. So let us check another program. Okay, I'll show you another interesting program. Right. Okay, fine. Okay. So just go through the snippet. So here we had, in the previous program, we had supplied static input are provided. Static input are provided. So whereas in this case, we had provided the input at the runtime. N is equal to int input of n values. Define, name of the definition is, function is list n. Okay. So an open list is defined, created. For I in range of 0, n, list dot insert 0, 1, return list. So this is a second return variant which is extended with an expression return list. Print list of n. So after learning this program, it is understood this snippet accepts n input from 1 to n minus 1 and stores in the list and display print list of n. with the return expression, right? Let us run the program, enter the values 5. Okay, so for I in the range of 0 comma n, 0 comma n, so it is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the size of the n is 5, hence we have the list starting from 0 up to 4. A total number of 5 inputs are displayed, okay, by using the return expression with a keyword, with a function. Okay, return expression list. Now, what and all we can modify the program? So, what we want is we want to have the sum. A list is displayed, we can add, multiply, and find all the manipulations. So, let us introduce the sum. I want to find the sum of the 5 numbers. Print sum. It is a function, sum of list of n. So, this function, okay, from the list collects all the independent input, performs the addition operation and displays the output. Now enter the value 5 and 43210. The last statement print calculates the sum. So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0. The sum is 10. Is it clear? So in the previous example, we have not. We have for I in range of, we have introduced a variable sum is equal to 0 and sum is equal to sum plus n. Whereas here, instead of the 2 or 3 lines, they are replaced with the sum function. So this function finds the addition of all the input available in the list. Okay, let us run with a different set of examples. Right? Let us take 10. Input is 10. 10 means 0 to 9 because we have introduced I in range of 0 to n. 0 to n. 0 to mean n is equal to 10. The size is 10, which means n minus 1. 0 to 9. Right? So it is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And the sum of the 10 numbers is equal to 45. By using the return expression instruction. Is it clear? So now what changes I see I can do? Can we think it of? So it is displayed from 0, I mean 0 to 9. I want the list starting from 1 to 10. Is it clear? I would like to display, create a list starting with 1 and not with 0. If a list starting with 1, then the last number should be 10. I need a list output in the range of 1 to 10, not with 0. What modification can I do inside the instruction? What modification can be done possibly in the snippet so that I'll get the list from 1 to 10 instead of 0 to 9. So list.list insert 0 to I. So for I in range of 0 to n, every number is included. So the list is a function, add an element after inside the list. So that is why we have got 0 to 9. Okay. So the list looks me, I'm not comfortable with the list. Of course, we have got 10 data, 10 input, but starting from 0 to 9. But I would like to format, customize the output from 1 to 10 instead of 0. I don't want 0. I would like to generate a list starting from 1 up to 10. What modification can I do in this program so that I get the output from 1 to 10 instead of 0? Yes? Any guess? Jason, Jayant, Navneet, Hemant, Rohit, Venkat, Madhulaya, Lata, Anil, please respond. Yeah, I have got one response from Jason. Yes, sir. Range of 1, comma n plus 1. Okay, yes, sir. The range gives the lower limit to upper limit. So instead of 0, if we have the lower limit as 1, then we will get as per the range value. Instead of 0, if we fix the range lower limit as 1, then we need to check the higher limit. So we are adding 1 to the lower limit, and hence the upper limit also should be added, n plus 1. If it is 1 to n, if the range is defined as 1 to n, so we have entered the 5 values and assume it is 10, right? Yes, the lower limit has changed 1, and n, it's up to n minus 1, that is 9. So it is important when we change the lower limit, appropriately the higher limit should be also updated to match the range. So n plus 1 minus 1, which gives the n input. Is it clear? So the difference between higher limit and lower limit is n plus 1 minus 1. So plus 1 and minus 1 cancel each other, and result is n, that is size. Right? Now run the program and check. Just assume 10. Okay. Now we have got. So the output is displayed with the lower limit, least value 1, and the highest value is 10. And the sum also changed 1 to 10, the sum is 55. Fine. But still I feel I am not satisfied with the output. It is in the descending order, right? I would like to have the list in the ascending order, in the normal conventional form, which means instead of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I would like to have the list from 1 to 10 in the ascending order conventional form. What modification can I do in this program so that I'll get the sorted list. In which statement can I modify it so that instead of 10, 9, 8 up to 1, I will get 1 to 10. So we have to introduce the sorting function, sort. Okay, so we had already discussed the function in the earlier, right? Print list. This is the statement, print list of n. This is the statement responsible for displaying the complete input data. So this, by introducing the sorted, SORTED function, we will get what is the expected. Run the program. Enter, let us take 15. Yes. Can you observe? Now the input are in the sorted form 1 to 15, and the sum of list is 120. So in this way we can extend the application by having more functions, more manipulations inside the list. So we started with a simple return instruction with only keyword itself and not anything following it. The second variation, return with an expression. The second return variant is extended with an expression. And we had defined a static list, right? Static list. This static list can be modified into dynamic as per the user requirement. We have defined n, and according to the value, the details are done. So we can introduce a while statement. Again, this list is almost, even though we enter at the time of execution 15, its default value is 1 and the maximum limit. So the user can provide the input by using a while loop. We can have any input value. It need not to be 1 to 15. It can have a mix of integer and float by extending the application with the help of while loop. Right? So if you have the fundamentals clear, then we can do all kind of experiments in the programming language. So initially it was in the ascending order, descending order, the highest value, the largest value appears first, and the least value has been displayed at the end. So by introducing the sorted, the function, we have got a conventional way of generating the list. So we can insert more values, delete it, and all the manipulations, list manipulations can be permitted. Right? Any doubts? So returning a result from a function, that is the topic we have discussed today. Any queries? So the return, this instruction is added inside a program to get functions to return a value. It could be a simple keyword or supported with an expression. Fine. So that's it from my side, today's session.